Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel and get ready because what you're about to experience is one of the most mind-bending, logic-destroying, reality-questioning performances ever witnessed on America's Got Talent. Today, we're diving into the unbelievable night when Zach Mirz walked onto the AGT stage and confused every single judge in a way that no magician has ever done before. This wasn't just a trick. This wasn't just a performance. This was a calculated, psychological rollercoaster designed to scramble your brain and make you forget the very concept of how magic is supposed to work. So sit tight, relax, and prepare to question everything, because Zach Mirz did not come to play. He came to rewrite the rules. The lights dimmed across the massive theater. The audience buzzed with excitement, but there was also something in the air that no one could quite place. A feeling that something unexpected was about to happen. And stepping out from behind the curtain came a man with a quiet smile, a calm presence, and eyes that looked like they'd already predicted the next hour of your life. Zach Mirz walked to center stage, took a breath, and gave a greeting that was so gentle and unassuming that no one suspected he was about to flip the entire building inside out. Before he even began, there was this sense of control around him. Not arrogant, not showy, just this quiet confidence that said he didn't need big props or explosions. He didn't need smoke, or fire, or giant boxes. He needed one thing: your mind. The judges leaned forward, sensing that whatever was coming would be nothing like the acts before him. Howie was already looking curious, Heidi had that expectant smile, Sophia was adjusting in her seat trying to get a clear view, and Simon had his signature skeptical lean-back posture, arms folded, waiting for Zach to impress him. Zach began by sharing a story, and this story was more than just an introduction, it was a setup. He talked about the concept of choices, how tiny choices shape our lives, and how sometimes the smallest decision leads to the biggest consequences. It seemed philosophical, almost too calm for a talent show stage, but the audience listened. His voice had a rhythm that made you lean in. And then he snapped his fingers, and the real show began. What followed was a chain of events so impossible, so layered, so confusing, that the judges genuinely couldn't process what they were seeing. Zach asked Howie to choose a card from a deck that he had barely even opened. Howie shuffled, looked through them, and pulled one out. Zach didn't touch the deck. Didn't look. Didn't guide him. Didn't influence him. He simply let the man choose completely freely. Or so everyone thought. Then he moved on to Heidi. He asked her for a random number. She said something simple, off the top of her head, without thinking too hard. Then he asked Sophia to pick a word from a page of a book he said he had never seen before. And finally, he asked Simon to do something no one expected. He told Simon to imagine a memory from his childhood. Not a famous one, not a documented one, a private, simple, quiet moment from his early life. Simon's face changed. His eyebrows came together. You could tell he was trying to think of something obscure, something no performer could possibly guess. Zach nodded slowly, almost like he was reading Simon's thoughts in real time. Then the magic started stitching itself together. Zach asked Howie to flip his chosen card. It was the 7 of Hearts. Everyone saw it, clear as day. Then he turned to Heidi and asked her to say her number. She said 23. Sophia said her word, lantern. And then Simon shared a part of his memory, something about sitting on the beach as a child with his mother, drawing shapes in the sand. A simple memory, nothing extravagant, but clearly something emotional. The audience sat in silence. Zach opened a wooden box. A box that had been on the table since before the trick began. A box he had never touched until this moment. Inside the box was an envelope. Inside the envelope was a letter. And on that letter, written in black ink, were 4 things. 7 of Hearts. 23. Lantern. A child sitting on a beach drawing shapes in the sand. The theater erupted. But the trick wasn't over. This was only phase 1. Zach smiled softly as the judges lost their minds. Howie shouted something unintelligible, mostly disbelief mixed with excitement. Heidi clapped her hands over her mouth. Sophia shook her head over and over. And Simon, the hardest judge to impress, looked rattled. For the first time in a long time, he looked like someone had reached inside his mind and rearranged the furniture. Zach waited for the cheers to settle. He didn't rush. He let the moment breathe. And then he said something intriguing. He said he wanted to run back the moment again, but backwards. Before anyone could ask what he meant, Zach asked for a volunteer from the audience. A woman named Lisa joined him on stage. He handed her a sealed cube, transparent on all sides. Inside the cube was a folded piece of paper. He told her not to open it yet. Then he turned to the judges again and told them they were about to make 4 new choices, but this time he would remove all control from himself. He stepped back, placed his hands behind his back, and closed his eyes. He told Howie to think of the first card that came to mind. Howie thought for a few seconds and said Queen of Spades. Then he asked Heidi for a color instead of a number. She said turquoise. Sophia was told to think of the first animal she imagined. She said falcon. And then Simon was once again asked for something personal, the name of a friend he hadn't spoken to in at least 10 years. This time Simon took longer. The silence stretched across the theater as thousands watched him think. He finally said the name quietly, as if unsure whether to share it out loud. Zach opened his eyes and stepped forward. He nodded toward the woman from the audience and asked her to open the sealed cube. The cube was thick, heat-sealed, impossible to tamper with. She cracked it open. She unfolded the note, and there it was, written as if it had been waiting for this exact moment. Queen of Spades. Turquoise. Falcon. The name Simon had spoken aloud only seconds earlier. The crowd exploded again, but this time it felt different. Not just shock. Not just excitement. This was confusion bordering on panic. The kind of reaction you get when something feels too real, too accurate, too impossible. A full theater unable to decide whether to laugh, scream, or question the meaning of life. But Zach wasn't finished. He said he wanted to do something with time itself. He asked the judges to stand. All 4 of them. A rare moment. They rose to their feet, already overwhelmed, but Zach guided them to each put one hand forward, palms facing him. He told them he would place an invisible moment in each of their hands. Something that hadn't happened yet. Something from the near future. The audience watched in complete silence. Zach moved his hands slowly, tracing shapes in the air, and tapped each judge gently on the center of their palms. He asked them to close their hands and sit. Then he said something that sent chills through the room. He said that in exactly 20 seconds, each of them would feel something. Something only they could describe. The countdown began. The audience counted with him. 20, 19, 18. By the time it reached 5, the tension was unbearable. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then it happened. Howie gasped first. Heidi jolted in her chair. Sophia laughed in pure shock. And Simon's face went blank. Zach asked them to share what they experienced. Howie said he felt warmth. Like someone had placed a tiny flame in his hand. Heidi said it felt like her palm had suddenly become heavy. Sophia said it felt like static electricity wrapped around her fingers. And Simon said quietly that it felt like someone had tapped him again on the hand. Zach nodded. Everything he had said would happen, did. But then he pulled out one more envelope. He placed it in Simon's hand, told him to open it. Inside, written in 4 short lines, were descriptions of the exact sensations each judge had just felt. The theater went wild. The audience stood. People were screaming, clapping, crying, laughing. A sea of disbelief. The judges were speechless. Howie paced back and forth. Heidi asked him how he did it. Sophia tried to piece it together and gave up. And Simon, who rarely shows vulnerability, leaned forward, staring at Zach like he was looking at a different kind of human being. And Zach, with a humble smile, simply thanked them. When it came time to vote, there was no debate. No discussion. Just 4 voices shouting yes without hesitation. Zach Mirz had done the impossible. Not just once, but repeatedly. He had confused every single judge in ways that defied logic, psychology, physical possibility, and human understanding. This wasn't just magic. This was mastery. And as he walked off the stage, the camera caught Simon shaking his head in disbelief, smiling the kind of smile you see on a man who has just had everything he thought he knew about magic shattered and rebuilt in a way he never expected. And that, right there, is why this performance became one of the most unforgettable, mind-bending acts America's Got Talent has ever seen. Zach Mirz didn't just impress the judges. He rewired their brains. He didn't just perform magic. He became the magician you remember long after the stage lights go dark. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most confusing and unbelievable moments in AGT history, make sure to stay tuned because there are plenty more performances waiting to be explored. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and remember, sometimes the impossible isn't just a trick. It's a reminder that the world still has mysteries left to reveal.